Nigeria Info.
Welcome back. It's 10:04 Nigerian time, and of course we have that the lady who was supposed to join us make it to the studio, and there's only one person to be blamed. Uncle Usanforgod.
I will repent.
We are sharing blames this morning. Mazi has taken his own. Usang has just taken his own. Looking for the one that would hang on Elvis this morning.
I will personally get one.
Okay. Good morning to you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
And it's always good to have you in the studio. Thank you so much for always coming for the town hall meeting. Today we are flipping our conversation. We're looking at house rent and office spaces rent. And of course, I know that just like I said last week Monday, that these three persons are involved in this thing in one way or another. These are people who also run their businesses and have offices and their houses that they are staying and all of that. So they're the best person to talk about this. Let's dive into before we look at what it is on the map, because there's some level of what the what has in recent time. By the way, you can join us via YouTube and Facebook at Nigeria Info Abuja, on YouTube and Facebook at Nigeria Info Abuja. And if you're yet to subscribe to our YouTube channel, you are honestly missing a lot. And for those of you who would like to know Mazi Denny Anthony, he's seated close to me, if you cameras. On my own right, which happens to be on your own left, will be Usanforgod. On my left, which is your own right, is Mr. Elvis seated there. So you can put a face to the name and this morning. All right. Let's look at the issues around the hand deficit, because this is where this conversation starts from. Abuja, the capital territory, has experienced a rapid population growth, approximately 8% annually. The increase of people has created a significant demand in housing. In fact, Abuja, with its 1.7 million housing units, Abuja accounts for 10% of Nigerians' overall house shortage. A concerning trend is the presence of many unoccupied properties in Abuja, as you have it. Many unoccupied estates, as would also have it. Yeah, these are estimates of almost 600 properties. The number is much higher compared to other areas in Abuja. While sorry about that. While the vacant housing unit could also help to alleviate the housing deficit in the rent of housing and also the price that we have. Unfortunately, this has not been also so, and it has not reached the larger population in terms of housing and in terms of the people in Abuja. Don't also forget that in the 9th Assembly, Senator Smart Adeyemi, who represents Kogi West, also came out to also push a bill that it should be approved by legislative bill for advance rent payments, meaning to say that if you pay for a house, you should pay like 3 months, and the rest of the time it can now be that you'll be paying per month instead of having daily pay, which also they think it has not been sustainable the way it goes. But that is, I don't know where I would say that. But our major concern this morning, our major conversation is, should federal government in any way with power come into regulating house rent price and office spaces price in the federal capital territory? Should the government jump into it? Now, some other experts have also said if the government jump into it, the business of this business and people who would want to invest in housing in Nigeria, in Abuja, might find it difficult to make some level of profit, because some of these houses are also built in the mind to make profit. The state of building that we see in Abuja, not ones that are very empty. There are houses in Maitama that we all know, that we all pass through them, and we don't see anybody, only for the gate man. There are some houses in Asokoro like that, in Gwarimpa, in many parts of Abuja. Should the government come into that space, regulate price? That's one. Now let's go to a chart that I found online. Also has the price. This chart was just done in November 2023, so it is very, very recent. And now let's go to the chart. A 1-bedroom in Maitama is said to be about 1.5 million minimum. A 1-bedroom, 1.5 minimum. We'll just keep looking at the average and the minimum price. Average price 9 million. Wusu 1 million. Average price 2.5 million. Asokoro district, you should be able to get minimum of 750,000. Average price of 2.5 million. Same thing in Wuye. Wuye, you have 850 with also an average price of 2 million. Katampe, 800 minimum and also average 2 million. Which other? Let's go to Gusape. Gusape 1.2 million and so an average price of 1.7 million. These are for 1 bedroom. Let's quickly jump to 2 bedroom for some of the high-end areas, if you might call them those names. Asokoro 2.5 million, average of 5.250 million. Wuse 2 5 million. Gusape 5 million. Metama District 4.5 million. Jabi 3.5 million. Where again? Should we look at Gwarimpa now? Gwarimpa 2 million. Lokogoma 1.7 million. Wumba, that's Apo 1.6 million. In Kuje, you can still get as low as 700,000 for a 2 bedroom. I think we'll stop at 3 bedroom because anybody that wants to take 4 and 5 bedroom, we already know who that kind of person is. So let's stop at 3 bedroom for our average family. For Central Business Street, minimum property you would find 15 million. Average 15 million. Of course, we know that's not house. That is completely off base because in central area, there are square meter. So by the time you put all the square meter together to give you something what 3 bedroom will be about 50 million. Metama District, 12 million. If you look at the average 1.6 million, which me and you know that's not true. Because if it's 1.6, a lot of people would rather stay in Metama than go to Gwarimpa. Wuye, 0.5 million. And did we look at Gariki at all? Gariki 3.5 million, Durumi 3 million. Let's look at Zuba 600,000. Dako 1.5 million, Buari 1.7 million, Lugbe 1.9, Kubwa 2 million, Lokoma 2.1, Kaba 2.2, Karimo 0.5 million. That's Karimo. By that, Zamia down. Edu Industrial Village down. Now this is where we are. Should the government step in? There's already housing debt. We know that the government is trying to work for that. Of course, we also know that the insecurity around some of states that are neighbors with Abuja has also forced some people to move to Abuja. People in Niger, people in Kaduna, people in Nasarawa, people in Kogi, people in us. Yeah? Now, should the government even jump into the business of regulating house rent in Abuja? Let me start with Elvis this morning.
Thank you very much, Elvis.
Yes.
The billionaire. Good morning, Abuja. What's happening in Abuja?
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, my dear brother, this is a very interesting topic for discussion.
Okay.
And interesting in the sense that there are 3 basic needs of man. One is food, shelter, and clothing. And interestingly, what we are talking about today is shelter, particularly in the Federal Territory. The reports you just read out also highlight that properties in FC make about 10% of the entire properties across the country, ranging to about 1.7 million properties.
Wow.
FCT. At times, when you put this par with the population of FCT, you will tend to understand and discover that there are more than enough properties to accommodate FCT residents. But the question is, how many of these properties are afforded by the people? If I am to say the government has a lot of role to play as regards provision of shelter, it is in fact the primary responsibility of the government to ensure that every citizen of this country have a roof over their head. I remember in the last administration when former Governor Fashola, who was the then Minister of Works and Housing, was in power, he launched either 8,000 housing scheme for the masses. But the question is, how many of those properties are fully completed? What is the stage at which those properties are today, and how many of them are occupied? In a situation whereby the property FCT, the cost of renting a property in FCT is far above the earnings of over 70% of residents in FCT, it calls for concern. And I can give certain concerns which has really bothered me a lot.
Okay.
One, most of the raw materials used in producing building materials for erecting properties are imported. These businessmen go all out to the black market to seek for FX, foreign exchange, to import all these materials. So the question now is, at what point is the government willing to regulate when you have not provided these people with the forex with which they can use to import raw materials for production or manufacturing of the building materials? Go to the market today. 2 years ago, cement was going for 3.5, 3.6. Today, even with 5,000 naira, you'll be begging to buy a bag of cement. So how do you now expect somebody who has invested his money in putting up a structure, and at the end of the day, possibly the person spent up to 50 million naira to put up a structure for rent, and you want the person to give it at a good giveaway? Government has contributed little or nothing
to that
particular project. So the government must be fully involved, not just in regulation. It is something that government must be intentional about, 100% intentional about, to structure this property policy in Nigeria, whereby everybody will benefit from it. Right. Both the tenants, both the landlords, and the government.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your point there. Look, it is getting more broader than we even thought about. Usanforgod, let's have your on this.
Yeah. Thank you, the billionaire, and thank you, Info, and Abuja listeners. Good morning to you. Each time you invite us to the studio, we don't talk. We usually don't agree on anything. We just do our individual researches and then come. And what gladdens my mind a lot of time when you cross-check facts, the points made by at least the trust, you see that there's so much alignment. The elder Elvis just so much about the things I jotted down, and I was just not happy, so I won't repeat that.
Okay.
But let me also reiterate that generally there shouldn't be deficit. The Abuja population is about 3.3 million, 400 and something thousand people. Then you have 1.7 thousand units in Abuja. If you make that math, you see that there shouldn't be a deficit. And you have 600 that are unoccupied.
Yes.
Now, so let me just go straight to the things that I think necessitate deficit, or maybe the lack of accommodation in Abuja. Some of those things are selfish nature of the landowners, the monopolistic nature of the landowners, capitalism, and there are other economic factors like inflation, which you mentioned, urban migration, and then also converting this residential building into commercial purpose definitely means that there wouldn't be enough for those people who are staying in those places to dwell in. And then town planning in the sense that there are certain government ministries or institutions that do not have business being in the city center.
Okay.
Now, if you take those streets to the outskirts of Abuja, like the Ministry of Agriculture and Environment, who want to live in Abuja or in the city center will not have to bother. For instance, if the Ministry of Agriculture was in Gwagwalada, was in Kuje, or was in a Orozo area, where you learn, where they can actually practice this agriculture, the workers in those ministries will not have to come and live in Utu. They will have to live in periphery. That makes the competition for housing in the center less. But you now bring those institutions to the same, all the institutions, environment, ecology, finance in the system. So the rush is largely on the part that everyone wants to live the proximity where they work. Sure. And what happens? Competition. That gives the landlords, the landowners, the privilege to exploit the privileged few. Now, in a egalitarian society where there is no class, there's always class anywhere, but it's minimal.
Yes, it's not pronounced.
It's not pronounced, sir. There's no competition for highbrow areas. Where Elvis lives, Mazi can live there, I can live there. Billionaire himself can even live there. Nobody is compete there. Why am I bringing up? I'm bringing that point because there is also a class factor that makes housing expensive. Okay. Where people build houses they don't really need, and then people live in areas they're not supposed to live. Why? Because they want to get the name, I live in Usetu, I live in Tama, and all of that. Now, you talked about unoccupied building.
Yes.
I think that our government, after considering option of regulating, you cannot regulate what you didn't help. How can you regulate housing when you have not regulated transport? So if you were able to regulate the cost building material, then you have the moral right to regulate.
Okay.
Now, I will also suggest that government can go into census. The housing census will give the actual number of housing in Abuja. It will also help us to know actual owners.
The Usanforgod looking for trouble because just last week the census he was still speaking that we're ready to go because part of what it should have been housing census for us to know the actual number. I don't think to wake the government up with that man. Let's move to Destiny Anthony on this.
For me, when you talk about housing deficit, what's that mean? It simply means shortage of accommodation. Simply put. Now, the other data that you released there, where about the cost of renting properties in different places in FCT. I have issue with that, those kind of when we bring those data. Number one, if you check that report, you see where they like 3-bedroom for Pape 1.2. Majority of people who work in town, even in the area where I do my business, live in Pape. And I know that most of them, they pay this arrangement of 3K per month thing, where you don't have toilet, you don't have even a decent kitchen.
Just sleep and go.
Do you understand? So now, if we are planning about 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom, how many people in FCT belong to the class that can afford that? Your drivers, have you considered your drivers, your security men, your house help, your cleaners, the people who do your laundry? You understand what I'm saying? Because that's why all the houses that you have in Maitama, Asokura, and some of these high areas are not occupied. There is a particular property in Maitama, I won't mention the name, and I won't mention the owner of that particular property. Very gigantic structure in Maitama. And the guy has 2 of those that environment. There is nobody there. It was later somebody just went, Baba, so if you just partition this thing, they collect for 500K. As go count. By the time they now realize if you do it like self-contained for 500K, they might now saw that I can be collecting some cook and this. And those 2 properties have been lying there for like years, over years, and you've not touched them. That is where I have problems. When you mention government coming in to regulate, I thank you to distinguish Senator Smart Adeyemi, but with all due respect, you can't use legislator to handle some issues. I built a property, take for instance, I stay, the BIG area that in Kubwa. Now, 1 bedroom has gone as high as 500. This is a place where 1 bedroom with 200K you can get it. Now it's 500 because there is a road in that particular axis. Number one, we have to do one. In Nigeria, you always hear this issue of mass house scheme. It only exists on paper. The one that Elvis mentioned that Fashola started. How many drivers, how many chefs, how many cleaners can afford those houses? And in different places, when you mention mass housing scheme, it's for those in the lowers. But here, the people who will still acquire those houses are still the rich. So at the end of the day, if not take care of the real population of the FCT.
All right, let me hold you there. Let's go for a quick break. When we come back, keep up with the conversation. Stay with us.
In the comfort of your home, on your way to work, in the midst of your activities. Your Let's Talk station is here to keep you informed. Only on your number one for talk, 95.1 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
Let's talk. My name is Mercy Johnson OJ.
My name is Joke Silva.
Hi there, I am Aprokodot.
My name is Shefi, aka Delicious Food.
It's your boss with Joe. I love cooking.
And my choice of cooking oil.
And my choice of cooking is palm oil.
My choice is palm oil.
Use palm oil. It's triple filtered. It contains omega-6 and 9, and it's fired with vitamin A. Plus, it comes in different packs and sizes. You can afford it without breaking the bank.
Wazobia Academy, they boast of success as them they train the new generation of promising talents for the culture and creative industries. Them we get.
is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
This 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 is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
Nothing breaks news like the news. Trust me, I can prove it. I do it every morning on Morning Cross 5, 3 to 9 a.m. on Nigeria Info 95.1 and FMD. Join the biggest conversation around the national politics every day. The way is trustworthy, full of passion, and yes, covers the biggest politics and the stories that matter to you. See, you have all the reasons to find out what's going on in Nigeria and then get differently. Let's talk. That's the way to go, even this morning.
This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
This is Nigeria Info.
In Abuja, we have to hit the street.
Because I'm a visitor in Abuja.
What happened in Abuja? I pay road safety and police to go there and organize it.
I just talk now. I'm on Katampe Station Bridge. I want to run through inside Gwarin.
What's happening in Abuja? What's happening 9:30 to 12 p.m. Live on 95.1 Nigeria Info Talk.
Get to know firsthand.
Coming to take over the FCT as a minister.
Be one with your city.
River State House to the CBN.
It's What's Happening Abuja.
What's happening Abuja?
What's Happening Abuja with Effizy. Effizy.
On 95.1 Nigeria Info Abuja.
Let's talk.
All right, welcome back. And Mazi, you were saying something before we went on the break.
So we must consider those people who belong to the lower class.
Okay.
Because if you think that if you're dishing out this kind of data, maybe you're a DG, a director somewhere, a manager of a bank, you own a business, you have sales boys, sales girls, you have cleaners. You need to consider. For every, let's say, doctor in a particular place now, you have a driver attached to you or two drivers in most cases. You have a cleaner, somebody who cleans the office and so on. Where are they going to come from? They're not going to live in the bushes. So it's very important that we consider that problem. That's why I have problem when we release such that I find out that the real population, maybe
who are concerned,
60, they are not included.
They are not captured.
They are not included. Look at you who do our Okada for us, who do care. They are part of Abuja population. Where are they going to live?
All All right, interesting. Abuja, let us know. Call us up on 700 951 0000. WhatsApp is 00930137. And I mean, you can direct any of your question to any of the others. If you have a question, then if it's Elvis, if it's Usanforgod or Destiny Anthony, fire a question to them and they would answer you this morning. Then also do well to tell us what red is in your area as you call us this morning. Send us a WhatsApp message or Facebook or Twitter. We're on X. We dropped a question for you on X, so you can go at Nigeria Info ABJ. Good morning, everybody. My name is Abiod. Regulating housing in FCT not work because the regulators are also the owners of this property. Bam, fired. Good morning. What's happening in Abuja? Hafsat sends that in. Okay, thank you. We see your message. Olivia says, good morning, Elvis, the billionaire, and the elders in the house. Olivia from Lugbe, thank you for bringing this housing issue. House rent in Abuja is really at a high rate. Mine is just a self-con. I am paying 160,000. But just last week, the landlord sent a letter to me that has increased the rent to 230,000, that he wants to drill borehole, and I have not even spent 1 year yet. Even if you want to increase the rent, at least 30K is okay, not 70,000. It's much. Haba, though, I'm looking for another house, Sha. It is God no go shame us. My sister, God will not shame you. Hello, good morning to you. Okay, nobody there. Good morning to you.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning to you. Your name and where you're calling from.
Yes, calling
You're welcome in Nasara. Let's talk.
Yeah, you have suggested the problem you have analyzed the way it is. And I think in fact, when you find out that in Greece are even higher. They're even higher because here in Asokoro, you don't get a room as you're talking. Some rooms go for almost 3 million per annum, 3.5. So it's way beyond the reach of the common. I want to add one thing. Most of the people that are staying in Abuja, they are not the lower income earners. Even the middle income earners. That's why you see the topic when you're coming to Maraba. Most of them are staying in the Nyanya Maraba. Most of them, almost most of them,
I agree.
Even the middle income earners, they rather prefer that the that you use to rent a house. 3 million, 2 million, you go and buy a land there and billion. Most people have relocated to, but I was just a 15 minutes drive in South Center, if not because of Goslow. With this fuel increment, people have parked their cars. Because the roads now are here. Many people are staying there. The only people staying in the middle of the high income earners, the rich. So I think government has a place, but government has a big road which they are not doing.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, appreciate you. Let's look at Facebook here. When Newman Emeka Temple says, greetings to you, our amiable elder statesmen in the house. All right. And who do we have here? Happy Isaac says, good morning, my elder in the house. Good morning, too. Happy says, thank God you brought this housing issue. Okay, I see also a response from Mazi on Facebook. Thank you. Let's look at YouTube. Nobody here on YouTube just yet. Okay, let's go back to WhatsApp. You can call us up on 07951 0000. WhatsApp is 00393037. Osh from Abuja says, good morning, Effizy. Special greetings to all the elders in the studio. Housing in Abuja is right and not a privilege. It's such a shame that when they talk about Abuja residents, we mention high-end workers alone. But I dare to say that a city is built by low-income earners too. Please, the government needs to create a mortgage scheme for the common man. It's long overdue. Okay, thank you. Hello, good morning to you.
Good morning, Elvis and everybody else.
Yes, good morning to you. Your name and where you're
I'm calling from Katape.
You're welcome. Let's hear you.
Okay. Have we considered the fact that most of why we have lots of slums in Abuja is because of the high cost of housing? Have we taken into consideration the and most of at times why people go to, like, you have these villages and all those small villages around, those are the low income and tries to stay to be able to go to work, the proximity to town. The point there is this: when we say government should regulate housing, normally they are supposed to provide infrastructures. The government is doing anything. They are not even providing road. They are not providing water in most of these places. You want to come and regulate what you are not. Normally, like the places where you have slums, government is supposed to do roads, provide them. People will come and develop their property. Okay. Those things are not provided. even in if you go to pay now, there are places that if government should open up those places, make roads available, people will go and build the houses. People have land there. The government is not. When people now take their money, provide electricity for themselves, provide water for themselves, do road for themselves, people will now come and say it's a slum and demolish places where the poor would have could even stay and then help themselves and then reduce some of these things. So it's a whole big thing. It's a lot of problem. Government is not doing anything in that area. No mortgaging.
All right.
We want to come and regulate.
Thank you. Right, your take there. Let's look this message and I come back to the elders in the studio. Good morning, Sir L. Land FCT is only allocated to the rich who makes the price beyond reach of the poor and middle class. The money used to buy a land can be used to build the entire house. A city blessed with a huge land mass can talk about housing deficit. Government should make land cheap and accessible to the poor middle class in Abuja. Chima from Apo. Chima, I mentioned it, I think it was last year, I also mentioned that you can actually walk into FCDA and apply for a land. You can really walk into FCDA and go to the lands.
How long before you get that?
Yeah, so that's the one I don't know. But can you apply? Yes, I know that one. But how long will it take you to get the land? That one I don't know.
So if you are not sure of a particular process, you can't run with it.
And so you have to be sure now. Me now. Sir, I know that there is information available that you can go.
Everybody knows that you can go to FCDA. You say you apply.
No, not everybody knows.
I'm coming. People know. The information is not that fast, but people know that at the same time, yes, you can walk into Nigeria Info and say, I want to pay for slots of adverts. Do you understand? We know that. But what if it's affordable? What if I need to sort Sir L, I need to sort somebody before I will be given time? Because the competition is high. Do you understand me? Honestly speaking, it's when you want people to be patriotic, there is a lot you do as government before you expect your city to be patriotic. If you can, I can only want to be a good person. You keep frustrating me. What do you need me to do? I will join the band. This brother mentioned about addition. It's part of what is increasing. We don't have enough for radio. You say we are having half it, and few that your demolition. There are places in, I can't remember that place, close to Quebec, they demolished. Till today, they didn't go back to anything. What happened was that they demolished that place, some other people came and took over the property. I don't know, it could be just one powerful guy who talked to somebody at the, one office, then they'll come in a particular settlement level everywhere. And you chase those people away, then a few other big guys from take the same land. And they don't have the CFO or the government this thing. These things are happening. So that last call I mentioned, you can actually go to a particular place where you know you have enough population already, like the Pape that he mentioned. If you go to Pape, go beyond that Panteka area. Inside, you still have massive land. Nobody has done anything. Just get the place, just provide the road. Don't even give them water. Don't provide water. People will sing borehole. Most people can move into that place. That Pape is the closest place to town. If I'm in Pape, you come to me, I can still come to town, do business and get back. It's not possible for me if I'm staying in Kubwa or Lugbe or Gwagwala or Maraba that Abubakar mentioned. So it's very important that you need to plan. See, when they talk about ease of doing business, most times it's on paper. I'm a businessman. Say you need a loan of, let's say, 3 million naira now. Where can you go now and get that? Not to talk of somebody who needs money to develop, houses. If we have a federal mortgage bank, let those who are in that kind of business, how easy has it for you to access fund? There was a time I bought a property around that hospital you mentioned, the industrial area. When I saw the wahala, you trying to get the loan and blah, blah, I say no, where my money go fit carry, I do that.
The ease of even getting these things that are available by government also a case.
It's not there. Few who have succeeded, you need to somebody, you need to settle somebody. I want to mention a particular institution, something to that. I know a guy who is into shooting. He went to that several times to get small loan, to get equipment, get a generator. No way. But somebody who is also connected with that place got more than he wanted. At a point, you are even telling me, Destiny, okay, I still have like extra 10 million for you. Add money so that you can get more money. But the real people who need that money, you're not giving them.
All right. And when we come back from this, I would task the elders to tell me what solution would we giving the FCT as it concerns the issue around house rent, offices, and housing deficit. But I think Mr. Elvis has shut that table. I mean, when he says that you are a part of the process, but you want to be part of regulating the process, how well is that going to work? So I don't know how we'll provide a solution, because it looks like this is even from the top, not even from the middle, not from the end user. Like people like this lady that chatted us now, she's an end user, and all of a sudden her rent has been taken to 230,000 from 160. And Biagin now is now 500 per room.
500 per one bedroom.
Ah.
Self-con nice.
And when they gave some people witchcraft to be flying fuse. Now where would they be staying? We'll be right back. Stay with us.
This is a sponsored program.
All right, we're back, and let's start with Usanforgod. Usang, what's the solution we should be looking at with all of this?
The billionaire.
Sir.
I want to start first foremost by appreciating some godly landowners. Because when we talk about issues like this, we should look at it as if it's all gloomy. During the COVID era, a lady friend of mine told me that her landlord reduced their rent here in Utako. Very choice area. And also, I'm a beneficiary of a godly landlady. This year, things were not as rosy because we are not supposed to confess negative. And I appealed to her and I said, can I twice? She said, why not? I paid first half. Okay. I know the second half. All right. And again, just to answer your question directly.
Yes, sir.
The billionaire. One of the reasons, again, why we have congestion in the city center is the attraction, the beauty, the ambience. And then in demography and immigration, there's what we call the pull factor and push factor. The pull factors are those things that draw people to the city center, while the push factors are those things that push people out of their cocoons, out of their local environment to want to go to the city center. Now, for us to have that reduction of that congestion is for government, not only government, private individual, landowners, to come together to make those areas, local areas, attractive. The truth is that if you live in Gwagwalada, if you can live in Gwagwalada and get to work in Abuja in 10 minutes or 15 minutes, where there's good transportation, you don't want to bother struggling to come and live in Gariki. If you live in Gwagwalada or Abaji, then everything that you have in the city center available there, why will you have to bother? My friend moved to the UK, and we checked that time, he said, I asked him if he tries to go watch Arsenal in London. He said, that it was in Sunderland. But he said, in Sunderland, that who were born in Sunderland, they are all over 40, they have not been to London.
Yes.
He said they have no need
to go there.
He said they have no one is attracting them. So for what? Do you understand that, sir? So because if there are things in my village that I can do that will make me successful, I want to come to Abuja. If there are things in my government that are good and that will make me enjoy the good things of Abuja, I tell you, the Abuja City Center will be less attractive. So we really need to address transportation. We also need to address those amenities, hospitals, road, security, whatever that will make life livable in the rural areas.
All right, thank you, Elvis.
Yeah, thank you very much, the billionaire. In fact, I will start by saying that government has a major role to play with regards to provision of mass housing in FCT. It might interest you to know that 70% or 60 to 70% of civil servants in FCT are living in rented apartments. And these civil servants occupy a large population of residents in FCT.
Yes.
Now, these are people that the government has data and statistics. These are people that can comfortably access mortgage or loan from the government. Why has the government not considered in out a particular area, build more housing, 1-bedroom apartment to 2-bedroom apartment, 3-bedroom apartment for these civil servants? Among civil servants, there are drivers. Amongst them, there are cleaners. Amongst them, there are low-income earners. There are people that really are in dear need of these housing. And if government cannot provide housing for all us, the teen population of the FCT, has let them start by concentrating on providing adequate, efficient housing, proper type A housing for these civil servants who are low-income earners, who cannot afford to buy properties or even rent properties in Maitama, Wuse 2, Asokoro, or even Gwarimpa. In Gwarimpa, a one-bedroom apartment, in all honesty, did I heard it? I was like, for real? One bedroom, meaning one small parlor,
yes,
one small room, one tiny kitchen, and toilet and bathroom. 1.5 million to 2 million. A BQ, a boys' quarter. The day I heard it, I was shocked to my marrows. How many of these civil servants who are type it, how many of these civil servants who are drivers can afford such a luxury of apartments?
I mean, level 7, level 8.
Exactly. How much is their salary? For honesty, the billionaire, one is not supposed to pay more than 3 months of your salary for rent. An annual rent.
Yeah.
So how many of these people earning 48,000, 50,000, whose annual rent is probably 600,000 or 500 and something thousand, can afford to rent an apartment that is good for 1.5 million? If you look at it vividly, you try to understand that the system itself encourages corruption. The system itself encourages corruption, because if I must live in a place or in an environment that is
decent enough
and also close to my place of work, then I have to do extra, both legal and illegal, to meet up with that rent. And that is where my attention and interest befalls on government. The FCT government in particular. It's not just all about construction of roads. In fact, I also must appreciate the current Minister of FCT. The road construction that is ongoing in FCT. In fact, the last time we saw such road construction was either during the military or El Rufai era. Yes. I must commend him for that. True. But he should also go further to pay attention with regards to provision of housing. This Gwarimpa housing was built under Abacha.
Yeah. The entire estate.
Yes, Gwarimpa was built under Abacha. So in about 20-something years since we returned back to democracy, the federal government of Nigeria or even the FCT administration should tell us or us another replica of Gwarimpa estate, housing estate. It is a big challenge
Elvis
to them.
The
Thank you very much.
No leg. The table not get leg again.
I thought it was Mazi that broke the table, but Elvis has skinned the table home. But then again, I mean, these are very key conversations. I mean, if you look at it, take it clue from what the three of you have also said, starting with Usanforgod. I mean, to be honest, if we have adequate security and diverse means of transportation, mode of transportation, there's nothing stopping anybody living in Lokoja to be working in Abuja and back to Abuja, to Lokoja. Exactly. Good level of security. We have train that comes and speed train that comes from Lokoja to Kaduna, from Kano. There's nothing stopping somebody who is living in Jere and working in city center. But I mean, when we do some of these things, people try to come. And this was the same thing that Ben did in Lagos, and we started having crazy traffic jam.
You know, there was this issue that distinguished Senator Smartademi mentioned, which my brother also reiterated, the push and pull factor.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that you don't want people to migrate from the rural, communities to the urban areas. On top waiting now, everybody wants a place where you have a better prospect for your career, for even your children's education and so on. So you just say that by saying sake, or you make a legislation and say, no, if you are in Kwali, stay there, don't come. What are you doing to counter that push and pull factor? Just like my brother enumerated. So it is not about they should stop speaking grammar. We want to see action. On the other hand, just like I said, I want to be positive that the current guy just came in. Let's give him time. We believe they are listening, because how you know that government they are listening? Sing their praises, you don't have problem. Just say something negative, they're knocked down.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming this morning. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Abuja, stay with us. The news come at the top of the hour at about of the building. I'll be right back.
Wazobia Academy is making waves.
It's Nigeria.